Namaste and greetings. I, Mahima Kapoor, researcher and assistant editor at IMPRI, Impact and Policy Research Institute, Prabhav एवं नीति अनुसंधान संस्थान नई दिल्ली, welcome you all to the IMPRI #Web Policy Talk. Through schemes like Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, Rashtriya Madhyamik Shiksha Abhiyan, and National Scheme of Incentives to Girls for Secondary Education, emphasis has been made on girls' participation in secondary and higher secondary education. While progress in terms of access and inclusion has taken place, there is still a long way to go. To address these challenges and bottlenecks, we have gathered for a talk under the series, The State of Gender Equality, #Gender Gaps, with Ms. Puja Marwaha on Rescripting the Gender Narrative, Ensuring Girls' Secondary Education. This deliberation is being organized by the IMPRI Gender Impact Studies Center. I feel honored to introduce the chair, Professor Vibhuti Patel. Ma'am is a visiting professor at IMPRI and former professor, Tata Institute of Social Sciences, Mumbai. Welcome, ma'am. With the permission of the chair, I would like to introduce the speaker and the discussants for the session. Ma'am?
Please, yeah. Please, Mahima, introduce the speakers.
Thank you, ma'am. I feel privileged to introduce the speaker, Ms. Puja Marwaha. Ma'am is the Chief Executive, Child Rights in You. She believes that children are the very foundation of every nation's growth and development aspirations. It was this belief that fueled her passion for child rights and inspired her to become a full-fledged part of the social sector in 1994. Ma'am believes that children should be at the heart of all human development work. This belief informs her passionate interest and involvement in children and their potential. Over the course of her work, she has been involved in the nurturing of a large number of organizations and people, enabling them to connect at the level of individual belief to the vision of all rights for all children. For the past 27 years, Ma'am has helped build an organizational framework for CRI that best captures the essence of justice and equity. Her work is focused on creation of organizational character that attempts to foster a passion for children, a high degree of individual accountability to children, and a belief in every person's potential to bring change for children. She currently also serves on the board for VANI, Volunteer Action Network India, in an endeavor to strengthen public mobilization for social issues. Welcome, ma'am. We are fortunate to have Dr. Meena, Prakash, Kute, and Dr. Francis Vaidya as the discussants for the session. Dr. Meena is the principal of SSR College of Education, Silvassa, and ex-registrar, SNDT Women's University, Mumbai. Welcome, ma'am. Dr. Francis is the president of Inner Wheel Club of Bombay Filmcity and associate professor, Gandhi Shikshan, Bhavan's Srimati Surajba College of Education, Mumbai. Welcome, ma'am. Now, I invite Professor Patel to take the proceedings further, and we look forward to learning from our esteemed gathering. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much. First of all, I would like to express my heartfelt thanks to Dr. Arjun Kumar and Dr. Seema Mehta, and also Mahima and Anshula for making all the arrangements and facilitating today's webinar on very important day, historic day of a National Day of Girl Child, which we are commemorating by the lecture of Madam from CRI, and on the Rescripting the Gender Narrative, Ensuring Girls' Secondary Education. I also greet my co-panel discussants today, my colleagues at SNDT, Dr. Meena Kute, and Dr. Francis Vaidya from Gandhi Shikshan Bhavan's Surajba College of Education. And today's Utsav Murti in Maharashtra, we say, the main speaker, Madam Puja Marwaha. And we start with the understanding of COVID-19 and how it has caused the largest disruption of education in the history of India. The most governments around the world have found temporarily, they have closed the schools and other learning spaces in the recent months in an attempt to contain spread of the virus. At the peak of pandemic in April 2020, these nationwide closures impacted more than 1.5 billion students world over and over 90% of world students population from pre-primary to higher education in over 200 countries. Now, this unprecedented disruption to education has the potential to roll back sustained gains made by girls' education right from the 19th century social reform movement, when Savitribai Phule started the first school for girls in 1848 against tremendous societal resistance. Now, with broader, immediate and long-term effects on the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goal, the current crisis has created a lot of multifaceted problems. For example, the goal of poverty reduction or health and well-being and inclusive quality education and gender equality, they are casualty. The most marginalized, including the girls with disabilities and those in conflict-affected contexts, remote and rural communities, and those in the poorest quintile, are expected to be most affected by the COVID-related school closures, facing additional constraints on their ability to fulfill their right to education, health, protection, among other things. As some schools and educational institutions around the world have reopened and others are preparing to do so, governments and education sector officials, community leaders, teachers, and school staff should see this opportunity to build back equal through gender responsive measures that transform education system, prioritize resilience, and add the key bottlenecks and barriers to girls' education. Currently, in our country, more than 1 crore girls are forced out of school. We won't say dropped out. They are forced out of the circumstances because of poverty and hunger and unemployment in their families, and so many evils such as forced child labor, slave labor, trafficking of women, forced marriages, child marriages. They have also been a mind-boggling issues in front of us as a result of girls, and they are losing out their opportunity. According to UNESCO 2020, we need that the global monitoring of school closures caused by COVID-19 report, which also shows that the estimated amount of women, like in every 5 girls in a crisis affected countries, will not be able to read a simple sentence. So this is a very, very unnerving and very, very worrying situation that we are seeing. It is in this context that we need to have promotion of gender responsive and inclusive planning, where we have to focus on equitable and gender responsive education during the planning of emergency preparedness, response to recovery, and also how girls' meaningful participation in the education can be ensured. Second challenge is that of a strengthening gender responsive distance education, because now, even as per the directive by several state governments, that nearly 40% of the education will be online education. So digital connectivity, today also the special supplement of Times of India talks about all the private sector or public sector or NGOs, all of them are demanding minimum 10% of the budget should go to education, mainly to create the educational infrastructure. Leveraging social protection strategies to reduce the financial barriers, that is also very important. How to provide various support system for the online education is very important. And understanding the program cost and how to get value for money, that is also very important challenge faced by the educational institutions and United Nations, UNESCO, UNICEF, and the civil society organizations are demanding minimum 10% of GDP should be allocated to education. National Education Policy 2020 has also recommended minimum 6% of GDP to be allocated. Now, it is in this context that we are trying to understand the ground reality, that it is not only the macro level planning or the meso level intervention, but also what is happening at a ground level. Today's discussion is organized, and this special lecture by Ms. Pooja Marwaha, Chief Executive of Child Relief and Youth, CRI, is very, very important, and that too on this particular day of a National Girl Child Education. And we have two discussants. Both of them are very seasoned activists and education activists, and also educationists who have been in the field for more than 4 decades. So now, first of all, I would like to request Ms. Pooja Marwaha, CEO of CRI, to make her presentation. Over to Madam Pooja.
Good evening, everybody. Today is the National Girl Child Day, and it really is indeed an honor to be invited by IMPRI to talk about something that I hold very close to my heart, and that we at CRI, along with all my esteemed fellow members and Professor Vibhuti Patel, thank you so much. As you were sharing, children is something that you have worked on for so long. And all of us work passionately on the issue of girls. But particularly today, I think we need to focus about what we believe is that is girls' education, and how that is a lever that holds the key to changing the very gender narrative in India, which we know is so can be one which is so fraught. I mean, there have been, we've surely seen a reduction in the gender gap in indicators on health, education. I remember when CRI started working, the gaps used to be far more. But while there are improvements, I think the road is still a very long one, and it's stemming from just so many different barriers that our girls face and women face, and they can be stemmed from socio-cultural norms and practices, beliefs vis-a-vis women and their capabilities. Especially, I think the really some of the worst practices are related to marriage and the whole shaping of the discourse on the reproductive role and childcare responsibilities to women vis-a-vis men and boys, and these expectations and attitudes towards girls within and outside their homes, in very case actually is what I believe fundamentally drives this differential access to basic services. It not just drives differential access, it drives the manner in which these services are delivered and the way that our policies are framed. So, I mean, if you look at simple things, I very often feel, even if you just looked at attitude of the duty bearers who are supposed to look after or are supposed to shape the attitudes of our young women. How many of them themselves believe in women actually being able to have a productive role, or actually believe that, okay, I mean, we have seen so many cases where teachers themselves are discouraging girls, saying that, oh, anyway, you've got to do, the famous Hindi phrase of chula choki. This is what you are destined for, so why even bother to try to do something else? So I think today I just want to talk about, I mean, we can talk about many things which are needed to be done to change this, but today we focus on gender equality in higher secondary education. And I have the UNFPA definition of gender equality here, which says gender equality requires equal enjoyment by women, men, girls, boys, and gender minorities of socially valued goods, opportunities, resources, and rewards. It means that all persons, regardless of their gender, enjoy the same status in society, have the same entitlements to all human rights, enjoy the same level of respect in the community, can take advantage of the same opportunities to make choices about their lives, and have the same amount of power to shape the outcomes of these choices. But the discourse on gender equality and the significance of girls having equal opportunities with lives that are free from discrimination and violence has been gaining prominence. It has received further impetus because the Sustainable Development Goals, if you look at Goal 4, pertaining to quality education, if you look at 3 and 5, they are committed to gender equality in its fullest way. The government of India is committed to universal education till 18 years through the Right to Education Act 2009. And more importantly, we find that the National Education Policy 2022, along with the other conventions like the UNCRC, etc., very clearly identify and commit universal secondary education from 0 to 18 and the reason that they talk about it as being central to the achievement of other national and globally sustainable development goals, right? And seeing education and the completion of education as the most important entry point for human development, for poverty reduction, for health and well-being, for gender equity, and for economic development. We recently studied this in great detail, and some of the things that we realized is that the NEP itself commits and makes several provisions by providing strengthening measures for access, for safety within schools, expansion of special schools like the Kasturba Gandhi Balika Vidyalayas, and the Gender Inclusion Fund, to name just a few. And I think in civil society, our efforts to bridge these gaps and are synchronized with the efforts of government to ensure that we achieve these SDGs. But the reality, I mean, we have been fascinated by the fact that there is a McKinsey study which we found, which actually talks about the fact that, I'm so sorry. McKinsey study that talks about the fact that the potential to improve our GDP, if by 2025, if education opportunities are provided for girls, is $770 billion just in India itself. I'm very sorry for the disturbances. These are the downsides of working from home. Please leave the door open so no one rings it. Yeah, I'm so sorry. I kind of got thrown off, especially when I look at the importance of education and ensuring that, a lot of people see education purely limited to learning outcomes. We don't. At CRI, we have understood that the role that education plays, especially for young girls and young women, is so way beyond that, right? We know that it postpones, especially in communities that all of us serve, in which the marginalizations are already there, which may be coming from poverty, which may be coming from caste or religion. Those get exacerbated in what we call multiple marginalizations because of gender, right? And if we were to remove this, just the potential of what young women could do, and do with their lives, and be able to, whether it is to postpone childbearing age, I'm so sorry. This has to be one of the most disturbed talks ever. Yeah, I'm so sorry. So, so what I realized is that the access and affordability of education becomes especially significant in the context of vulnerable groups. And therefore, what I was talking about as education being not just a place to provide learning outcomes, but a place where young girls can learn both in terms of creating their own agency, in terms of postponing marriage and early motherhood, postponing, having more control over fertility. All of these outcomes are frankly way beyond the proportion of what is really required in order to fulfill it. The investment that we require to put as a country is not as large as the outcomes that we can actually get from this. So there are so many policy provisions we've talked about. Whether it is our being a signatory to the CRC, whether it is the NAP, whether and above all is actually the Right to Education Act, these policy provisions need to be realized and strengthened because they need resourcing. If they are not resourced adequately, then having all these policy provisions is really of no good to us. If you look at the gross enrollment ratios, while we made again significant gains in completion of elementary education, especially with Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, different incentive schemes, we are seeing huge dropouts at upper primary levels. So at upper primary level, the gross enrollment ratio is very healthy at 90.46. It drops at secondary level to 77.8. And most alarming, at higher secondary level, where education becomes a paid good, today, at least in India, it drops to 52.4. And what Professor was talking about is that these are lost girls. Yeah, and all of us focus on that 90% enrollment at elementary and think all is well. It is not. It is completion of school. That is the critical need of the hour. It's crucial because it enhances critical thinking, lays an adequate foundation on which other complex skills can be built. Right? If you look at schools, like I said, they are sites for protection, they are sites for socialization, for sports, for building self-confidence, for building leadership skills. Recently, across many, many states, curriculum, we have seen the emphasis on building life skills. And in our programs, this is work that civil society has actually piloted and put in place, which is now, getting adapted by the larger schooling system. Because we've seen that this is what is critical. Working at schools to ensure girls stay in school, that family, and the second part is working with girls' families and communities to ensure that they are allocating resources, because they can help carve a path for a more secure and supportive environment. I mean, we keep thinking and saying that when we work with girls in our gender work, we need to work with men and boys and families as well. Because if we are able to do that, then truly, I think we'll be able to change the situation for girls. Secondary education is, there is a lot of data, whether we look at the studies done by Martin in 95 or Malhotra 2 or UNICEF 2015. Secondary education is clearly associated with lower fertility ratios, reduces early pregnancy, enables planned motherhood, reduces domestic violence rates, and empowers girls with a higher say in decision making eventually. Yeah. And therefore, I think our estimations that like what I talked about, the McKinsey study that talks about the potential to improve GDP. Yeah. Costs. I think if you look at overall across the World Bank talks about the loss to the world is almost 15 trillion to 30 trillion dollars in just lost lifetime productivity. So even if we take women and put them into the current paradigm of productivity and earning, even there, this is a foolish thing to do, to not invest into our girls. And in the Indian scenario, like I talked about it, the dropout rates have increased dramatically. The UDICE 1920 is showing us that, again, 8th grade, it's dropped. It's gone from 15.1 in secondary level. I like the term that you use, not dropout, but forced out, right? And as per, again, the NSS, 30.2% girls reported, again, because engagement in domestic activities. And we know that the step from so-called domestic activities to child marriage is a very small one. Yeah. To this, as we talked about, and we all so aware, add the challenges introduced by the COVID-19 pandemic. It has caused one of the largest disruptions in our system. If I look at the evidence from the CRI program areas, all disasters, pre-existing vulnerabilities tend to get exacerbated. The risk of child marriage, the increased violence, sexual exploitation, child labor. I mean, even this blind rush towards online education without taking into account the sort of safety concerns that we should be having has led to some really alarming statistics on porn online and how India is becoming a very large source of that, because we are less safe than other countries. Yeah. And I think if you look at the number of out-of-school children, just in the age group of 6 to 17, 18 NSSO talks about 3.22 crores. And I can imagine that this would have almost increased by at least 30% during the pandemic. Additionally, there is another real problem that we have seen with the gender divide with digital infrastructure. Yeah? Only 33% women have access to the internet, while the figure is 67% for men. In rural India, only 28% women have access to the internet, vis-a-vis 72% men. And what we've heard, again, from anecdotal evidence in our programming is that even if a family does own an internet connection or own a phone, the girls are at the bottom of the line of getting access to it. I have had too many heartbreaking interactions where children have talked about the fact that they've had to get up at 4 in the morning because the only time they are being given the phone to access their classes is 4 to 5 in the morning. And therefore, I feel that, you know, this whole situation is, we are back again to this constant issue that we all facing, that if systemically we do not believe in girls' equality, that everything else conspires to, again, worsening their situation. Yeah. Secondly, I think that we need to look at this time as an opportunity. Can we use this time to make schools safer? Can we ensure that we can support keeping girls in school with better menstrual health, better hygiene, better sanitation facilities? Because there is a focus in the country on sanitation. Let us use it to ensure that girls stay in school. And because safety is such an important concern, then once again, this is something that we can work on. It's important, but to nuance this, because we have recently, again, we worked with the University of Warwick on girls' safety and the connection to, therefore, dropouts, right? And wherever we found that there seem to be indications that when there is a perception of lower safety within a district, within a village, the first thing that we know happens is that girls are taken out of school. Instead of improving the safety, the response is to once again deprive girls of education. So I think we just need to collaborate as civil society, as government, as academics, as everybody who is involved with children on developing a better attitude to gender, whether it is through strong social behavior change campaigns. It could be interventions addressing attitudinal changes, both within girls and both without. As we know, sometimes we women are our worst enemies. So the work to be done in building the agency of girls to make them believe that they are as entitled to support through their education as boys are. I think, to me, I've spoken a lot, but really, to me, last and not least, we need allocation, as I said, resourcing of public resources, ensuring that they are utilized through the understanding of rights, the understanding of what resources are available, and meaningful collaborations between government and non-government actors. Unless we're able to do all of this, we will not be able to achieve secondary education for girls. And I really realize, through our work, that it is not enough to talk about it. We need to ensure that anybody who is a designated duty bearer, whether it is a parent, whether it is a teacher, whether it is administration, need to be sensitive to gender. Yeah. And I think there are organizations in civil society that are doing various things. It could be gender sensitizing of a curriculum of a state. It could be training teachers to understand what are the, like I said, what are the attitudes they are carrying themselves. Yeah, it could be working with parents, which people don't seem to want to do for some reason, to work with boys, to say that safety is not just, the responsibility of the girl. It's a responsibility of society, of boys, of men. It's only then that we will be able to achieve education. And I don't think it's much to ask for, is it? It's 50% of humanity, and all we need to do is support them to be more educated and take charge of their lives. So, Professor, over to you. I can go on and on the whole day about.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Madam Pooja Marwaha. You brought out extremely important 7 points. First, that all disasters exacerbate already existing inequality and marginalization. That is very heartbreaking reality that we see. Second one is of a digital divide and the internet connection, not girls at the bottom of the pyramid of international of the internet connectivity, deprivation of that. Another very important thing that which are the disabling environment for the girls, which force her to drop out of middle level education, and how to build better. That is a challenge all of us have. Plus, safety is a very, very important concern. Building women's agency, girls' agency, and entitlement, very important. And also the rights and resources, gender responsive budgeting, that is important, and collaboration between GOs and NGOs. And here we have two discussants. Both of them are working both with GOs and NGOs as a state government employee and as administrator also. They are there, and they are also associated with the civil society organizations and communities. First of all, I would like to ask Dr. Francis Vaidya that what have been your understanding of the problem, and you have been in the field of education for such a long time. At the same time, you are also intervening during this pandemic period through your Innerville Club, and what have been your findings in terms of existing reality, and what can we do? A second question I would like to you to dwell on is as an educationist in the field level, with the field level experience, how do you see that women's progression in the STEM subjects. That is a major worrying issue, that most of the time we groom our women students only to get BA BCom degree, but when it comes to STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, there is no conducive environment both in the home and in the school and college school. Yeah. Please unmute yourself, Dr. Francis. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dr. Vibhuti Patel and IMPRI for having me here. To answer your question, can I just share my screen, ma'am?
Yes.
Okay.
Would you like to do that?
It's okay. Can I try?
Yeah, please go ahead.
I'll just try. Okay. Am I sharing or you're sharing?
Yes, it is. It is visible at least.
Yeah.
Make it full screen, ma'am.
Sir, are you sharing or am I sharing?
No, you are sharing.
You are sharing. Only thing, make it full screen. That's it. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Is that okay?
Yes.
So I start by saying good evening to everyone, and it's a very beautiful topic which we are going to discuss on a very important day. That is the National Girl Child Day. So happy National Girl Child Day to each and everyone out here who is a girl, and we are proud. For it says a world without girls is as impossible as a world without water. And this we thank the Ministry of Women and Child Developments and the Government of India who have initiated this National Girl Child Day in 2008. It is at this stage, at 2022, we are still talking about inequality, gender biasness, injustice, digital device, which is just come post-pandemic. And we see that if you look at this graph, you see that how many girls have entered school from 2005 to 2015. We have the statistics which is going down because of the pandemic situation. So there was a growth because of Ramsa, because of Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, Kasturba Gandhi Balika Vidyalay, and many schemes by the government who has initiated taking 1 rupee for coming attendance, giving them bags, uniforms, and we had made an improvement. But just let's see what the UNICEF had to say, then, who conducted a study on 5,029 parents and adolescents across 6 states between August and September 2020, and they found that nearly half of the secondary class students and about 1/3 of the elementary class students felt that their mental and socio-economic health had been poor or very poor since May 2020. And I'm sure we are all aware that the pandemic had struck us, and how were the effect of the people, especially the girls, being confined in their homes have been really changed, which was, really coming up, and the tragedy struck us, and the marginalized students were hit worse. And 60% of the migrant families and the 53% of scheduled caste tribes said their mental and socio-economic emotional well-being also had become very poor. A study which was conducted in 2021 in this district also said more than half of the students didn't attend school regularly. Irregularity or absence has been most common in the tribal area, we have always seen, and how because of illiteracy, parents don't want, they are reluctant to send, and the girl has suffered going to school. But if you look at the problems which were faced by the girl child, the negative parental attitude towards why इसको क्यों बेचना है स्कूल में, वो तो ससुराल जाने वाली है, their chula, they has to learn to cook, the lack of infrastructure in school. When the secondary schools are the girls are having menstrual, there is no toilet facility, there's no water facility. Then the cost of education, which is played another important role for creating more problems to secondary school, and especially we will see later how the pandemic has affected this more. Child marriage, the importance of getting the child married and sending her off also played an important role in creating more problems to the children and getting them not into the school, the place where they have to be. The household chores, the girl is supposed to be doing the household chores, and the parents themselves feel that it is not necessary, not absolutely necessary, that the girl should go to school. And this is what the girls have silently faced. The gender bias violence, the crisis, and the trafficking all goes into the problem of faced by the girls in the secondary education. If you put them out into structure, so you have the cultural, the social level, the house factor, and the economic factor, all, whether it is parental investment, they do not want to spend for the girls in school, the cost of the school, the expenses of admission, the household involvement, all these have led to the educational outcomes where the learning has been low, the achievement have been low, and low academic performance. Even if the girls went to school, the demand for them doing work at home, the demand for doing all the household chores and taking care of the male members of the house have lessened their ability to achieve. And therefore they decide that it's better to drop out of school, and there is a forced dropout, as ma'am rightly said. There's high drop-off rate in school. If you look at what S. Shrikant, an NGO development, says that he had encouraged, the children were encouraged to go to school by providing food. Even government has made a lot of incentive in the form of khichdi, in the form of medical facilities, in the form of educational books, raincoats, everybody, even the NGOs have tried their best to do provision of food, clothes, scholarship. But he feels that with the pandemic situation, the interest has dwindled. He said, yes, I quote, yes, it did not start with the pandemic, definitely not. But the point that the pandemic has made it much worse, he said, it is easier for students to now slip through those cracks in the system. It's really saddening to see that the students now are not into the schools. Many don't want to come back to school. They feel comfortable at home. Girls don't want, parents don't want to send them. And according to the data of the Education Ministry of the Parliament, 30 million do not possess the digital divide. So the education is not, even when we speak on one hand, education reaching to the doorstep of the individual, on the other hand, because of the pandemic, education is brought through the virtual media. It is not possible because of lack of digital divide. And Kashmir and Madhya Pradesh also said that 70% of the students did not possess, and if they had, it was, as ma'am Pooja rightly said, it would be given to more to the boys. So let's see what is the pandemic situation of the girls and how they have worsened. So lack of communication and isolation, they are in their homes. Study revealed that many of the girls have become pregnant during, the young girls have become pregnant during the pandemic situation because of the male member, fathers, responsible, drunken fathers, boys, all day in the house, they are in one room, it has left. Secondly, also the girls themselves have taken up jobs because the parents have no jobs now. They have taken up jobs and they're earning some income, and they feel that why should we go back to school when we are earning some sort of income. So there is now a difference in barrier of study and knowledge. They do not want to go back to school, and this has increased the social differences. Gender discrimination has taken place because, as ma'am rightly said, when we are in the at homes, it is the girl, the female, who is being doing, especially the girl of the adolescent age, the secondary school students have to heed to what is happening at home, being responsible, taking up the responsibility of getting some money. And definitely this has created a digital divide. If you see the when there is a school, when there are classes, if first of all, many of the people do not have smartphones, and it is necessary for a way forward for government to take efforts to reduce, as we will see later. But the bottom line is that the girls, even if they want to study, they do not get the opportunity of having the smartphone in their hand. So we will see, if we have to see the way to progress as teacher educators, as members of the society, as NGOs, what is our way forward to help these girls to come back to the secondary school, or to even make them aware of secondary school secondary education. So the basis is of laying a strong foundation at the primary level. The early childhood development plays a vital, integral role, important role, where the girls are trained slowly but surely, trained into some technical, different skill, behavioral skill, cognitive skill, where they are trained and they are thus created interest in going into secondary education, and then probably the higher education. Focus on, as ma'am rightly said, Nai Talim. The NEP 2020 talks of experiential learning. Being a board of study member, the chairperson, Dr. Sunita Magre, has sought to it that 2 lessons are compulsory for every B.Ed college teacher trainees to put into experiential learning. And I tell you, when I observe the lessons of putting the students into experiential learning, the learning outcome is fantastic. The retention is good, the interest is developed, and they are trained for some job skill aid. Like, for example, we did a lesson on environment, the student did, and with plastic, she taught them plant holders, and they were so enthusiastic. They tried to use their creativity and try to make more things out of it, put it into their schools, and got some self-confidence, self-esteem developed in them. So this creates them for earn while you learn while you earn, which is very important in today's situation. So even though the girls, if we are not academically inclined, yes, we need to we need to tap their resources, which is they are capable of, they are able to do, and help them to become an asset rather than a liability to society. So if we address the digital device, we had spoken about increasing affordability. Being pandemic for nearly 2 years, and we do not know how long it is to stay here. So the need for smartphone is very, very important. It has become a necessity now. And since it is a necessity, it has to be made affordable. The government of India should see that in which way they can tackle this problem, and they help the people to get more and more students, especially the girls, to afford this. They can help them, they can help in the lower income group to get smartphones. Empowering users, getting the smartphone isn't sufficient, but we need to empower the girls, to train the girls how to use different websites, how to create digital stories, how to create their own videos, how to use different software where they can get access to education. If it is not online, it can be offline. When we can solve this problem, if they are not getting, they can use, teachers can give them videos, PowerPoint presentation, which they can use it offline if they do not get it, to use it during the teaching learning process. Another thing which, if we address the digital divide solution, is many of the teaching learning activities or the videos is basically just taken from websites, and find it not relevant. Any teaching learning process, any teaching learning becomes interesting when it is related to life, and therefore relevancy of the content in the digital world, in the content of software, has to be really improved. Internet infrastructure development, we come to see that during the course, the infrastructure, the development, the internet slashes down. So we need to put the schools need to put a good, affordable in broadband band, so that the children get what they want. And definitely this addresses the gender gap between when all of them have access to smartphone, whether it is male or female, girl or boy, they will be able to access, and this bridges the gap between gender biasness. Now, with regard to ma'am, you have spoken about STEM. The one more is increased. It is STEAM, it was STEM, where it was focusing on science, technology, engineering, and maths. And then they put into STEAM, where all are necessary. Everything is necessary for the teaching learning process. As Gandhiji rightly said, holistic development is important. The 3H is important. Whether earlier subjects were taught in watertight compartments, now knowledge is one whole. So whether it is science, technology, engineering, art, maths, everything should be used with more than one modality. Integration, correlation should be taken, and therefore the gap, the gender, even the girls should be emphasized, that they are not only meant for art, they can still take in the science, technology, they are good at maths. This has to be fostered right from the childhood, which it develops critical thinking, analytical thinking, and imagination. So how do we as teachers or we as educators get the student into STEM? So we need, or STEAM, we need to pursue them into different career paths by exposing them. Expose them into STEAM education, encourage them into, there are now STEAM education certificate program, certificate courses where the girl can see, give them support their learning opportunities in the community. We know that a particular child is good in science, tap the resources, work for it, create awareness, make every way possible so that the student, the girl, can move to higher education and take up right from primary education and not be a dropout in the secondary education. So therefore, the role of the teacher is to serve as a mentor. We are now the paradigm shift from teacher-centered education to child-centered education, and teacher is only a mentor, a facilitator, a provider of knowledge. She is the one to develop constructive approach. Child should be the constructor of knowledge. So take charge, take help, be the facilitator, and educate the girl child into STEM. If you look at this, I have taken some photo from the web net. I have not done it, so I acknowledge that this is not mine and it is taken from the net. And if you look at this, it's a STEAM conceptual model where there is a interrelationship between discipline integration, classroom environment, and problem solving. So if you put art and humanity, we included A in it because art also brings about innovation in real life application. It helps to, the STEAM education will help to solve problem in real life because it makes meaning to the child. Something which is not relevant to life, has no meaning, creates disinterest, not bothered. So whenever we plan digital workshop, see that it is challenging and it gives meaning to the child. Ask them to look at a video or a movie and ask them to write a critical appreciation of the movie. So it brings about creativity, imagination, logical thinking, chronological order, using the maxims of teaching. And this will help them that there are multiple methods available to solve one problem. Okay, so this is very important. STEAM, which has come out now, plays a real good role. It is coming into even the teacher education where you can take science. Science students could only take maths. Now science students can take language. It is coming in the 4-year integrated BA B.Ed syllabus, which is already in many of the universities. And so therefore STEAM education plays a very important role, especially for girls, and therefore the resources must include the planning, the time, the lesson idea, templates, and existing lesson plan. So when you are teaching in class, if you integrate, if you correlate history with science, then the students can make out. Earlier, history was the taught for the sake of history, and there was no integration. And they asked, ma'am, how history and science? Then you say that history follows the scientific temper in it, the chronological order in it. There are so many scientific industrial revolution, machine, and so the child, the girl at a very young age sees the correlation as the knowledge as one whole. So I was just looking out ways of how as a teacher educator, I can increase. So in science, if you have demonstration, discussion, project-based, these are different ways where we can make the girl think and create an interest. Heuristic method, experimentation. We in Gandhi Shikshan Bhavan use a lot of method. We do not teach lecture-based method. We involve the child, we involve the student right from 1969 when we were initiated. Our stalwarts management have taught us to integrate, and it was so beautiful. I came from a different college, but when I entered Gandhi Shikshan Bhavan, I said, wow, this is great that we are integrating everything and knowledge is seen as one whole. With computer technology, facilitate them how to use computer, online side, and also important is to train them for cyber crime. Many of the students in digital, how they hack the thing. We have this problem when we are teaching online, hacking is taking place. So we need to train the students. The students are now, girls are on digital line. So we need to train them how they need to be dressed, how they should be aware of hackers, and how so they have to be aware. Knowledge has to be there with regard to technology. Similarly, science, arts, maths, all can be trained by giving them orientation. Tell them that they are capable. Do an aptitude test, an attitude test. You can find out. So the classroom instruction is now shifting from what content do students need to know towards how we support learners in the inquiry process. So the constructivist approach has to be there. Now, I would like to just share that Inner Wheel, I'm a president of Inner Wheel. Inner Wheel does a lot. We are a women organization and we are internationally recognized. We are from District 314 and I'm the president of Inner Wheel Club of Bombay Filmcity. And every year there is a theme. This year's theme is Shiroz. Shiroz, and it is focusing on pink first. The purpose of focusing on pink first is to bring about awareness about the women's problem, how to help them in all areas, whether it is health and hygiene, whether it is education, life skill, training. So what we do at Inner Wheel in Bombay Filmcity and all the Inner Wheel people, we spot out the good ones who want to do like STEM, go for education, and we give them educational support in whatever way we can. We create awareness of program of health and hygiene, women issues, life skill education is on the job now going on. It's an ongoing program, and we have something called Sparsh, good touch, bad touch, where we train our little young ones. What is it to be in a good touch, bad touch, and what are the ways? We also have helped people in the rural area to get job-oriented courses, training like Warli, training for auto rickshaw and grooming, so that we can help them to become entrepreneurs in their thing. So these are the ways where Inner Wheel, there is much more to say, that we have being an educator, street play, entrepreneurship, transgender also we have helped by giving sewing machines, and the transgenders are now making cloth bags which they are selling. We have also given the pad vending machine and incinerator, so that the schools, the children come to school, health and hygiene is a thing, and also we have counseling. We have also done in a rural area, the district project, where hostel facilities were made, classroom were made, drinking water facility. And I'm sure that all NGOs, including CRI, everybody is doing, this is our bit of doing. Would you like me to say the way forward, ma'am? now?
Later on, in the last round.
Thank you.
Yeah, you
Thank
can.
you so much.
So thank you very much, Dr. Francis Vaidya, because you also brought in the issue of early childhood education, the highlights of new national education policy, and the experimental learning, which is the forte and which is the specialization of Gandhi Shikshan Bhavan, and the need for constructivist approach where the child-centered approach is there. Now, I would like to ask Dr. Meena Kute, who has herself really played a very heroic role. She has been a role model, as you can read even in the chat box. She has been role model of so many thousands of women, girls, and now women. As you have been associated with the Women's University, and you are also familiar with the realities of rural and tribal areas, you have played pioneering role in setting new kinds of institutional structure systems, and even you are leader by example in the field of education. Can you give a profile of challenges faced by girls in the secondary school in current times, reasons for their dropout, and suggest what can be done by the government, elected representatives in the Panchayati Raj institutions? Because we got the urban perspective, but now what we need to know is that what can PRIs do and educational institutions in the rural areas to ensure retention of girls in the secondary education. Over to Dr. Meena Kute. Yeah.
Thank you very much, madam. Thank you very much. Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So on the occasion of this National Girl Child Day, I thank Mr. Arjun Kumar. Actually, Honorable Puja Marwaha, ma'am, Dr. Vibhuti Patel, madam, chairperson, and the speaker, next speaker, the panelist, Dr. Vaidya, they have already focused on these question and issues of National Girl Child's Day, what we are expecting. As madam said that, wanted to share my profile, my experience, own experience. Friends, I belongs to a very rural area. I belongs to Dondaicha place. It's even not a taluka place. Still now it's not a taluka place also. But in that Dondaicha village, I was learning. I took my education in primary school. That was Nagar Parishad school was that, school number 3, that primary school. Friends, why I am telling my example, as madam has told, that to share the views so that the parents, the listeners, the girls may be inspired. If anybody is inspired by the experience of my life, I think that the aim of celebrating this National Girl Child Day will be fulfilled. So friends, we were 9 sisters and brothers, 5 daughters to my father. First 5 daughters for 5 girls, because the hope of a son, as it is said that he will be the, you may say, the जैसे बोलते हैं ना, वंश का दिया चाहिए. So that's why, that was the reason that 4 brothers was later on. All the father was just a clerk, and to feed these 9 children, including my grandmother, parents, the whole large family, it was not possible for my father, for my parents to give education to all the girls in that time, at that time. 40 years I have worked in the field of education. You'll find that from KG to PG, I have toiled. For 6 years, I was a primary teacher. So I knew what are the problems at present too, that we have to overcome. We have to think, if we want to remove the gender discrimination, that is a must. For 6 years, I have worked in higher secondary and secondary school. And later on, for up to 28 years, out of them 16 years as a teacher educator and 12 years as a principal, as an administration. And during that period, headed as a administered as a registrar of SNDT Women's University in Mumbai also. So in duration of this period, while taking my education, because of poverty and because of a girl child of my father, I was the second child, second number, it was not possible to give them education. When we say that we are teaching life skills to the students nowadays, but I say that at that time, I was also working in the farm. We have to work as a servant, as a maid to many houses. We were doing our work. and trying to take education. Of course, it was a child marriage because as I completed I entered in the higher secondary, that is 12th standard, I got married. You'll find that up to even for 4th standard scholarship, I have to visit, I have to go for Taluka place, that is Shinkheda, for giving my examination. For 7th standard, that was vernacular final in 1972. For vernacular final, I have to go for examination again to the Taluka place, that was Sindhkheda. Now it was not possible. It was not, means my father was not able to afford me even to go to that place for examination purpose or for taking education. We don't have any dress. One just uniform was there, and just on that one uniform and one dress, we all sisters, we were trying to live our life, and we're trying, due to, you may say, a strong willpower and perseverance to take education, wanted to change this situation at that is like a poverty, and to change the whatever values were inculcated by mother and my father. That was just to take education, and girls were given second choice, second option. We were given secondary treatment. Even the food was not given to us. My mother was, you may say, we can say that there was no, you may say, even the nursing or the nursing home for delivery. My mother was giving, her delivery was at home, and myself have delivered. Many a times I helped my mother. Second day she was cooking for us. She was feeding to us. That was very tragic. And myself was in 7th standard, and by in my marriage, my last younger brother was of just 2 years old. So you can imagine that what is the difference between these age. So all these 9 children to feed, to means to take care of these 9 children, to give them education, always thought that my sons, that is children, that is boys, should be given treatment, well treatment, good treatment. That was the thought given occurring every time in my parents' mind. And I was just observing and wanted to change, because for 10th standard also, SSC, that was new pattern, 10+2+3 pattern was started in 1975. I was the first one. I was the first, we may say, first batch student of that new pattern, which was introduced by Dr. Kothari. And for 10th and 12th standard also, we have to go to Nandurbar. That was at Taluka, another Taluka place of Dhule district, and we went there. In the 12th standard, I got married. Again, just parents wanted to, you may say, decrease the load of the family members, and that's why they just done the marriage. And the family was also not well learned. Illiterate family was there at my in-laws home. My husband was just a teacher. There was no question of whether what is the job and what was the profile and what was the status of my husband. I was not asked anything while getting married. In 12th standard, I got married, and after that, at in-laws' house, I started to take education. But while taking education, we 5 sisters, tried hard, worked others' places, worked in the farms, and you may say like a diligent worker, we worked and helped to our parents to take education. Means that was the help to get education for us. And then you will find that the girl who was taking education in a Nagar Parishad school became the principal in Mumbai at SNDT Women's University. This travel of 40 years, that you may say, this travelogue of mine itself tells that if we have will, we can change this. Nothing is impossible, but the parents have to change their mentality, because only then we can change this history of women's education. Savitribai Phule, even Maharshi Karve, they have tried lot for women's education. I am really grateful to Dr. Dhondo Maharshi Karve, because he first established our first Indian Women's University at Pune, and later on in Mumbai. And from Japan, he took that, he was inspired, and he he gave that kind of opportunity to all the women to take higher education. But while working, while looking back, I used to think that if all the girls, because those girls who were learning with me in my classes, they remained just after they were you can say that forcibly dropped out because they got married and they never learned. Even the mayor's daughter, that Vijayavani, she left her school in 12th standard as she got married with in a rich family, and she was happy with the family. But now see, at this time, at this point, or in these days, she used to conversate with me. She used to communicate with me that you, due to your perseverance and due to your strong power, you continued your education after marriage also. Because after marriage, in the joint family, where again more than 16 to 20 people were there, and just 2 rooms house was there, and my in-law was illiterate. She was abused. She was early. We were awakening in the morning by her abusing words. But if I wanted to change the situation of my in-laws house also, as my mother's house and parents' house and in-laws house, I decided not to give reply, but continue my work and started to take education, and even serving that I was taking tuitions of the students late in the night and early in the morning, so that the household work should not be disturbed. Now that was the inspired, and just my husband was also a teacher, and father-in-law was also a teacher. Just they were both were primary teachers. Nobody was earning. All were illiterate members in my family. So later on, I thought that now we have to change. We have to bring some kind of educational mindset. We have to change, and that's why I continued my education. I completed my D.Ed at first and took job as a primary teacher. While doing my job as a primary teacher, I faced a number of problems. That in that school, I found that the parents were giving education to their sons. It means to boys and not the girls. The great discrimination was there, and from that day I decided that I should work something for girls' education. And anyhow, I started to give to create awareness about girls' education from that day. Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao. This is the motto. But and even in our university, SNDT Women's University's motto is Sanskrita Sri Parashakti. It is said that an enlightened woman is a source of infinite strength. It means that no, every woman must be learned. Every girl must be learned. She must take education. And many philosophers, many educationists like Swami Vivekananda, Mahatma Gandhi, or even Mahatma Phule and Rabindranath Tagore, all people have said that unless means no, even Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar used to say that no nation can progress without the progress of without the education of women. So we have to give focus on women's education. Ma pehla guru hoti hai. If she is learned, then the hands that rocks the cradle rules the world. It is said, and that's why I am strongly of the opinion that every woman, every girl must be educated. Madam, in the January, I found one survey in the month of January, in the first week of January. One of the members from, he is actually Alcoholic Anonymous institution is there. One NGO type institution is there. And one of the member is taking survey. So he is belonging to Khilari family, that is Dhangar family. They cattling the sheep and goats and all the animals. Now, when he is living in that area, Dhangarwada, that is said, in that Dhangarwada, he made survey. Out of 100 families, he gave me the list of the people and the list of the family members. And there I found that 60 families have lost their husbands, that is their chief family members, who was the source of earning. It is called that main family member, they have lost. The 60 women are widow, and they are not belonging to rich family or even middle class family. They are very poor. Now the question is that what will happen to their children? What will happen to the girls? Who will give them education? Again, they will be driven to the work, or they will be forced to work for the family. The boys are the mothers and the family members, especially their opinions were taken, and they said that क्या करना है अभी, बच्चों को पढ़ाएगा, यही हमारा हेतु है. क्यों? Now why they have lost their family? Because of their bad habits or addiction, drugs addiction, or you may say drinking habits of that family. And mostly I myself is the, you may say, example of that. When I was 37, my children, both these sons, I had both these sons, and they have lost their father. I lost my husband because of that bad habit. I am the, you may say, instinct of that bad habits or that effect, and I have to again take that responsibility of my own family also and in-laws family also. And that's why I had that aim that from primary teacher I continued my education. I completed my BA, B.Ed, MA, M.Ed, MPhil, PhD, SET, while doing the responsibilities of my family members, my in-laws, my sister-in-laws, and her three daughters. Now all are educated. I focus, though I didn't have a girl child, but still the brothers, girls, then my sister-in-laws, daughters, all are now educated. But that has taken a long time, long experience, long sacrifice I have to do. I have to, you may say that, burn like a candle, and that's that burning like a candle. Then I was able to spread light in my house. I was able to give, show some light to my illiterate family, and that is possible. When this survey was done, madam, I really thought that, I really wondered that even 20%, those family members who are alive, they are unemployed. They are not poor. Only 10%, they are just living their lives, not taking comfortable, not having any facilities. So if such, in this 21st century also, if the family is facing such problems, then what is the, all the suggestions, all the challenges, all the reasons why the girls are just now also, early marriages are taken place, and secondary treatment is given to the girls, to the daughters, household work is done, cooking, feeding, caring of brothers and sisters, washing, cleaning are still handed over to the girl only. She is not given any opportunity to, in this pandemic also, the smartphones are not having, the girl child has not given that kind of facility to complete their education. And in the villages, basically I would like to suggest that, where I'm belonging to my native place, that is Dhulia, and now Nandurbar has been made another separate district. But in Nandurbar district, Adivasi people are living. Adivasi people are living, and in that Adivasi area, you will find that padas are there, wadis are there, mountaineering, hilly areas are there, where no transportation facilities are there, no safety of the girls' education is there. Even the family members of the family, that uncle, maternal uncle, younger brothers, nephews, niece, they are exploiting the girls while traveling, walking to the school on foot. They are really facing a number of challenges till a day. Though we have progressed a lot, we are trying to eradicate all these problems, but still there are some areas where education has not been reached. Girls' education has not been reached. Though there are a number of scholarships, but they are not aware of those scholarships. Though there are a number of schemes, but these people are not aware of
Money
their
is
schemes.
unutilized in Nandurbar district, TSP,
Exactly.
TSP area. Massive
Yeah.
funds are given, but
Given.
utilization. People are not seeking
Exactly.
proposals. No, yeah.
Exactly. No proposal, because they are not aware. Still there are, means we have to work to create awareness about these facilities. Even Savitribai Dattak Phule Yojana, they don't are aware. The Savitribai Phule's scholarship, they are not aware. Even means for higher education, a number of facilities, free passes are there, but they are not aware. They are paying, and they are really troubling a lot. Means that's why if we want to remove these problems, if we really wanted to increase the girls enrollment ratio, we have to work in villages, we have to reach in villages, we have to create an awareness. I think that of our NSS unit, NCC cadets, they should go, their camps should be organized in the village areas, in the mountainary areas, and whether they will, when the girls will see the advanced state of the girls, if they are progressing, why not we? If they are getting this kind of facilities, opportunities, why not we? They can think over it. Actually, there is much talent, much potential. They are very skilled, but they didn't get opportunity. If the opportunity gets, their parents, their patriarch, we know that in again in Maharashtra or in India, patriarchal system is there. Still the women, even the younger brother is forcing the elder sister not to go outside after the 7 o'clock. That is also the tendency, that is the mindset, even in the city area. So this has to be changed. And then only we can say that we can create such kind of awareness amongst all the people. We have to remove the poverty. Means no safety to the girls, and even the parents are also, means I know that in SNDT Women's University, when I was a registrar, one girl came, I can't now disclose the name of that girl, but she had a stepmother, and stepmother's brother, the father was alive, stepmother's brother with his friends, the whole night they raped her, and early in the morning, very sadly, she came at 6 o'clock. I was staying in the hostel. I said that, why you come so early? And she said, she started crying. She was not disclosing. She was not telling anything. But I understand, when I told her, I convinced her that you can tell me what happened. But the girl is not ready to complain, because later on, where she will live? Again, she has to go. The stepmother has given entry to the stepbrother and his friends in her room. In her room means we can say that she was given in the hands of such kind of criminals, such kind of criminal mindset of those boys, and they were enjoying, but the girl was suffering a lot. She has tremendous willpower. So she came for the, I think 26th January parade was there, and she was in the parade. Means talent is there, where ambitious attitude is there, but if such kind of adverse circumstances will occur in the life of the girls, who can save her? We can just say there is need of n number of Sindhutai Sapkar. There is need of n number of, you may say, social workers who will help them, who will think like their own children.
Universities like SNDT, because such girls,
Exactly.
many of them come with the problem, and we teachers always
tried.
hostel
Yes,
accommodation in our university itself.
Our university is helping.
Yeah.
We are giving the facility of these for these even the Divyaanga students also. We give free residential place also and safety, so that the girl was later on, the girl, when I guided her, later on the girl, she joined to one of the NGOs, and now she is very much self-dependent, empowered woman, empowered girl. Now she is enjoying her free life, but there is need.
Thank
So
you,
there
Dr.
is
Meena
need.
Kute, for a very
fine.
erudite and extremely powerful presentation through your life's journey. So many important issues have come up, that if there is a hand holding, if there is a social security, if there is a social protection, if state and civil society, your own example says that if the state and civil society and the whole community is supportive, then women emerge as, and the girls emerge as empowered citizens. And I think that is what, and I think in the chat box, participants have also given their feedback, but 5 important questions that have emerged as a result of your presentations. First of all is while transition to higher secondary is low for girls, which is 57%, it is similarly low for boys, which is 55%, though for different reasons. The reasons are different. Are there specific regions where girl student dropout rate is higher because of the distance to school or question of safety? And is there a high gender gap by region? I would like Madam Pooja to Madam Pooja Marwaha to respond to this question.
Thank you, Professor Patel. It's been wonderful to listen to both my fellow panelists. And Meena, it's like you're inspirational, really. Because, you know, we realize कि हमने तो मतलब हमारी तो life इतनी easy थी comparatively. You know, while all women, I think, face some issues, but आप तो heroine है. I wanted to say that yes, it is. There is a huge issue of dropout at secondary education for boys as well, and primarily due to child labor, and more importantly because the RTE expires. So basically, once an 8th grade RTE expires, what happens is that, जैसे Meena Atai said very clearly, you need to have knowledge about what is available as a support system. And we know that access becomes dramatically goes from 1 to 2 kilometers to 15, 20 kilometers, right? So also poverty is a huge reason for families choosing not to then send, be able, or deciding that we can't support children to do secondary education. It is different, and the developmental indicators. So if you look at the Niti Aayog list of districts, there are districts where the gender ratios are worse. But if you can write to us, and I'm happy to give you my email, we can also get you information about which specific districts actually contribute to this. I mean, sadly enough, a lot of it comes from North India. Yeah, as we all know.
In Maharashtra, it comes from Nandurbar. That's a very
right.
low literacy, low.
So yeah, I think wherever I mean, I keep thinking that we are perhaps not paying enough attention to access.
Yeah,
Right.
Because then access and safety get equated, especially for girls, very quickly. And you know, like some people are fond of saying, I mean, I know child rights activists who first fight for a road. They're saying, और कुछ नहीं तो बस से तो भेज सकते हैं ना.
सही बात है.
अगर बस होगा तो, you know, so it is so many layers of work that has to be done. Yeah, and I think, yeah, that these differential accesses are driven sometimes by the poverty of a district and sometimes by geography. Yeah, you know, like areas like Nandurbar, tribal areas, northeast access to education is terrible. So most parents are very innocently sending the girls away. If you see, high trafficking is there in the northeast, right, because they're thinking they're sending them to school, but they're getting trafficked, and you're finding them in Singapore and Thailand.
Yeah, yes, exactly.
So I think focusing on access and distance of access. The RT promises it for primary school, but somewhere we need to look at that access for up to 12.
Yeah.
Because the minute menstruation happens, you know, safety starts becoming a concern. Yeah. And it is a concern. It is real. You know, the rape that Dr. Meena talked about is a story we hear too often.
Right? Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Madam Pooja. Now I would like to ask the second question. I think Dr. Meena Kute can answer. What is the most effective way to reduce child marriage? Are there some specific initiatives that have been known to work more than the others? And also, what about the Earn and Learn scheme? Any thoughts on enabling girls to study more, but also join paid work? What is the end goal of more education for girls that you see? So, can you answer these three questions?
Yes. It's very true, madam. Now I think we have taken decision. Our central government has taken decision. They have increased the age of a girl child, that is 21 years, from 18 to 21. Again, still, if they are aware of laws, if a girl child through education, if they are aware about the laws and the rights of education or rights of whatever the girls have to perform, if they are aware, then definitely they will say no. They will say no to the child marriage. So awareness is must. And you'll find that various kinds of skill-based, as they have already potentials. For example, n number of work skill they are working at home. So they are doing various kinds of housework, and they are helping. Now their skill, even for rangoli, from rangoli to painting and warli painting, and even they were sewing their razai, that is godadi, they used to say. The girls are very much expert in sewing that razai, and it was export and import was done by the Bachat Gat women, where they were saving that kind of money. They are earning the money. Yeah, help one and save the money.
Yeah.
So help one, save one. That was the you may say principle which was implemented, and the girls started earning money. Even in the vacation period. Now during this pandemic it was not possible, but during the vacation period the girl used to prepare papads and all those you may say eatables. Even the pickles and those things they are preparing, they are doing that job.
Professor Patel,
So small small scale business, you can say, they are preparing and they are earning money.
Yeah. Okay.
Hello.
Yeah.
So such kind of, in such way they are inspired, they are helped. Even they are learning.
Yeah.
Yoga classes also they are learning from them.
Yeah.
with
I
your
think when
permission,
it comes
can
to and when it comes to awareness generation, I think during the pandemic, 1,75,000 children used Childline for distress calls. Out of which 25% calls were by adolescent girls that they were forced into marriage. Women's Commission could save 12,000 girls. So I think that kind of effort is very, now the
Can
awareness
I,
is 191 and 1098.
Professor
Yeah.
Patel, I'd like to add to
Yeah.
the answer here.
Yeah.
So the question asked was, what are some of the measures that work to, have
Prevent
worked
child marriage.
to prevent child
Early.
marriage? So I think, couple of things, experiences from CRI, from our work. One is, and I'm coming back to it, school.
Education.
Yeah, if girl children can be kept in school till they are 18, yeah, it is a huge place of protection and empowerment.
Exactly.
When you are talking about education, and that's why we actually did that study too, and across the world now, I think that gender studies are really looking at the impact of education on the life cycle of the girl. So it is not about, earning today, learn while you are learning, etc. All very commendable, yeah, but should be supported by the state and is. If we look at the various forms of sabla, again, if we had awareness, people would be able to, the families are being supported to keep girls in school, if you can access it, है ना? अगर access ही नहीं कर रहे हो तो फिर तो छोड़ो बात. But in different states, it is available.
Yeah.
But the real purpose of education is to enable her to have agency, to be able to say no tomorrow, to rape, to be able to say no to early marriage.
To say no.
Yeah, and to be able to know that she's not being cheated by everybody, like a local banya, the local whatever. And we are seeing the impact of girls. If a girl is educated, and you only said it, that imagine an educated woman in a family. She's ensuring that children are delayed. She's ensuring better nutrition. Look at the economic impact that an educated girl has. And I think creating the awareness and changing that attitude about what education can actually do for young women is what is critical to me. And that works. That works. We don't just work with the women, but we must work with society and parents and priests and police to say, look, this is not just because it's not the law, but it is harming your family for life. It is intergenerational, the impact. So I
Yeah.
think that
Yes.
importance is got to be
Uh,
said.
that will be the excellent solution, madam. If up to 18 years the girl will be kept in the to take education, to take in that situation, definitely she will be safe and she will definitely learn. She will
Yeah.
definitely become and she will get exposure to have her potential,
And we all
showcase
work
her
with,
potential.
we all
Definitely,
work with
that will be
we
good.
all work with men and women. And I'm
Right.
always struck by the remarkable approach to problem solving that women bring.
Yes.
Because they are so many multi-dimensional things they are always thinking about.
Correct.
ये करेंगे तो इस पे भी impact होगा, इस पे भी impact.
Right.
It is amazing actually
Correct.
what women bring to the table.
Yeah.
But you're constantly shaming them, saying, "Oh, women are emotional."
Correct.
No, they are always, they're very seized of the impact of every decision. So,
Yeah.
I mean, imagine if we had 50% more educated women in this country. What
Exactly.
a country.
Yeah.
So there is a last question is that love all panelists work on empowering girls. Any thoughts on working with boys to engage with the empowered girls? So Dr. Francis, can you respond to this? That what can be done to empower them?
Yes,
Because we all
ma'am.
talk about Beti Bachao, but what about reforming our boys? How to that behave respectfully, respect
Correct.
dignity of the
Yes.
Ma'am, really, it is really important to train our boys to respect the girls. And this starts in the family. The mothers play an important role in breaking down stereotypes. Like in my family, we had to do the boys' job, and the boys had to even mold the atta. So there was no, my father saw, my parents, my mother saw that both the girl and the boy did role. So we never knew that this was boy's task, this was girl's task. So if it starts in the family itself, there are beautiful advertisements. I think they said ladki ke jaise kyun rote hain, and they said there was another ad which says that teach the men, don't teach the women, teach the men how they must treat their, and how the mothers play a very important role, because they are the ones, those who are pampering the sons, they are the ones who pamper their husbands. When we talk here, many of us also, when we come from the hard day's work, we say it's okay, we'll make a cup of tea. How many of us will ask our husbands to make? And we do, my husband does make, and like that, how many people? So in order to empower the girl, it should be both basically shoulder to shoulder responsibility. It is empower the girls, treat the boys, how to teach they tie on one hand, one day they tie Rakhi to the sisters, and continuously next moment they're talking bad words about their sisters, bad language, foul language about sisters, mothers. So when we are talking about empowering girls, so we need to empower the boys also of the problems which the girls face. So gender empowerment is the solution, where we talk about how the boys need to treat the women, how they need to participate in the daily activities, chores, how they should involve women in the decision making in the family, with regard to what do we eat today, what ice cream flavor should we take, or what
Starting from
shares.
parents to property rights of
Yes,
property
yes,
rights of
yes.
daughters.
Exactly.
I
And
was
ma'am,
just
I would
financial
like to
decision.
proudly say that my dad just wanted the property for his sons, and my mom said no. The girls, even before this Property Right Act came, that the girls will get equal rights to the property. So we thank many ladies, many mothers who have tried to bring about a change, and now we must compulsory through education. It is, if we educate a girl, we educate a whole nation, as Mahatma Gandhi rightly said. So it is important for us not only to talk about women empowerment, but how the men can empower a baby shoulder to shoulder. That is what is important.
Yeah,
That's
very
what I-
important. Yes, Madam Pooja Marwaha, last word for you, and then I conclude. Would you like to, what is the message?
I just
you would
wanted
like-
to say our experience with working with boys has been amazing. Yeah.
Yes.
When we focus on boys, not only did their own educational outcomes improve, their ability to stay in school improve. But, I remember we had a temporary stop in one of the programs. The mothers came and said, why have you stopped? Because this son is suddenly such a better person at home,
Correct.
just so much more interested in his studies, so much less loitering.
Correct.
So we learned that we have to create peer groups also for boys, so that they have acceptance of being more gender sensitive.
Yeah.
And I think it's really important for, us and I agree with Dr. Vaidya, it is horrible how all of us, women, are, unthinkingly forwarding jokes on women, unthinkingly, laughing at men who listen to their wives.
Correct.
Yeah. So it is only when this power balance is correct in our society that we'll be able to go forward.
Correct.
We cannot keep putting the onus only on women and girls.
Yeah.
Where else do we do this? If a victim is a victim,
Yeah.
you cannot put the onus just on the victim. The onus is on the whole of society. It is on the perpetrators.
Yeah.
That you need to be willing to give away power. You need to be able to give away property rights or financial planning rights. Yeah. Or for example, you talked about STEM, ensuring that girls are not frightened of maths or are not fed this ridiculous mythology that women by nature don't like maths and physics.
Yeah.
It's not true.
Mhm.
True.
It's ridiculous.
Mhm.
Thank you.
So I think we have to value what everyone brings to the table.
Correct.
So I'll just end with that,
Thank you.
let us
Very, very
become a great
inspiring
country.
discussion we had. And I think there is one comment in the chat box that financial assistance is given to rape victim. I think several state governments have this thing, but very few know about it. So there has to be, so that the survivor of rape doesn't need to stay in a violent environment. She can get out, and the sum given is also quite adequate. Now,
Yeah, but,
I would like
mostly
to conclude.
don't get
that- Yeah, so I would like to thank Ms. Puja Marwaha, Chief Executive of Child Rights and You, Dr. Francis Vaidya from Gandhi Shikshan Bhavan, and Dr. Meena Kute, currently a principal, retired from SNDT as a registrar. And I would like to submit that before COVID-19, we were already a long way from the gender equality in and through education. While global figures showing gender parity in education are often cited as a great success story for gender equality, these figures mask large regional, national, and local disparities. On an average, just 2 in 3 countries have achieved gender parity, and 1 in 2 in the lower secondary and 1 in 4 in the upper secondary education enrollment. So even globally, if we see that 105 countries, 15 countries still allow child marriage to take place, although it is violation of girls' rights to education and freedom from violence and among other rights. What happened to Malala, how she was attacked by the Taliban, and what is currently happening to women and the girls in Afghanistan. Over 620 million children worldwide lack basic sanitation, which is also very much linked to school attendance, because 900 million lack basic hygiene services in the school, often putting sharp end to girls' education during menstruation. Evidence from past crises show that girls are particularly vulnerable in the face of prolonged school closures, and school closures have been found to exacerbate girls' and women's unpaid care work, limiting their time available for study. Girls' digital divide and girls' reduced access to information and communication technology, even in the context of high mobile and internet coverage also translate into reduced learning opportunities for girls. COVID-related quarantine have placed many girls at heightened exposure to gender-based violence, including sexual exploitation, as Dr. Meena Kute gave an example, early and unintended pregnancies, while also removing access to vital services for protection, nutrition, health, and well-being. Because of the when they go to school, they also get midday meal. So sudden decline in the nutrition standard as per the NFHS 5 that is found is because of closure of ICDS centers and midday meal programs. It is difficult to predict the long-term impacts of COVID-19 on learning loss and dropout rates, but increases in both are predicted at all levels of education because of the efforts, which are very proactive efforts that are started by the Gender Equality Forum globally and even in the nation states. Estimates of learning loss suggest that 25% of most students may fall below the baseline level of proficiency needed to participate effectively and productively in society. The ASR report is telling, this year's ASR report, if you see that class 7 students are unable to read the textbooks of class second standard. In addition to learning losses, UNESCO has estimated that globally nearly 2.38 crore children and adolescent and youth from pre-primary to tertiary, they may drop out, and we need to make a concerted effort. So the planning of gender responsive approaches that respond to contextual realities can improve access and demand for girls' education, as we saw today, the urban analysis of urban context, then the rural context and tribal context. We need gender disaggregated data. We also need mapping out of all stakeholders, girls, school staff, communities, authorities. They need to communicate with each other, and we need to come up with the gender responsive education planning, and for which gender responsive budgeting is also extremely important. And here I would like to end with a very beautiful verses which Kamala Bhasin had written about the girls' education, and it goes like 1 minute. Where she says that father asks the daughter, why does she want to study? And she gives her reason that why she needs to, why it is important for her to study. पिताजी ने बेटी को पूछा, तुझे क्यों छोरी, तुझे क्यों पढ़ना है? And it's a beautiful verses, and it has been used by the women's movement for conscientization. A father asks his daughter, study. What should you study? I have sons aplenty who can study. Girl, why should you study? The daughter tells her father, since you ask, here is why I must study. Because I am a girl, I must study. Long denied this right, I must study. For my dreams to take flight, I must study. Knowledge brings new light, so I must study. For the battles I must fight, I must study. Because I am a girl, I must study. To avoid destitution, I must study. To win independence, I must study. To fight frustration, I must study. To find inspiration, I must study. Because I am a girl, I must study. To fight men's violence, I must study. To end my silence, I must study. To challenge patriarchy, I must study. To demolish all hierarchy, I must study. Because I am a girl, I must study. To mold a faith I can trust, I must study. To make laws that are just, I must study. To sweep centuries of dust, I must study. To challenge what I must study. Because I am a girl, I must study. To know right from wrong, I must study. To find a voice that is strong, I must study. To write feminist songs, I must study. To make a world where girls belong, I must study. Because I am a girl, I must study. I think with this optimistic note, the new spirit of girl, which even Dr. Meena Kute and all our three panelists, they expressed, I think I would like to end and request Dr. Simi Mehta to take over.
Thank you, Dr. Patel, for that stunning.
Thank you. Thanks to chair. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All three of you were extremely
I
inspiring.
can imagine in Hindi, it'll be amazing.
Yeah, Hindi is also there.
Yeah.
It is there. Huh?
Right.
Yeah. But there is a global audience, so, and the reach of IMPRI discussions are global. So, but it is there. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much. It has been really, really wonderful. And, I had moments of my own, my eyes swelling up, my goosebumps coming up. This discussion has truly, really impacted me as a person, and also it has been really inspirational. And this intellectually informed deliberation, we couldn't have asked more on behalf of the IMPRI Gender Impact Studies Center. So thank you so much. I would like to formally conclude and express my vote of thanks to our speaker, Pooja Marwaha ma'am. Thank you for being with us this evening, spending your time. And we are really, really grateful. And I would also like to take this opportunity to thank our discussants, Dr. Francis Vaidya and also Dr. Meena Kute. Thank you so much, ma'am, for adding your brilliant insights and experiences that really made the whole discussion very, very fruitful. And most of all, Professor Vibhuti Patel, thank you so much for excellently chairing the session and bringing your own expert insights into this. Really, really, we are very filled with gratitude. Thank you so much to all of you. And IMPRI remains committed to advancing gender equity and equality and making the world more tolerant and peaceful place to live in. So thank you so much. We really sincerely look forward to your support and your continuous guidance in addressing the gender gaps across the sectors and to make a great place to live in. Thank you so much. And I wish you all a very good night, good evening, and please take care of yourselves.
Yeah, can you also announce the course? There are many educationists among the participants, the course on feminism.
Yes, yes. And thank you so much, ma'am. This is also, I would like to take this opportunity to announce to all our participants. Thank you, you all attended this very insightful discussion here on Zoom and also on Facebook Live. And to all those who would be watching us later on our YouTube channel and listening to the program on the podcast, on different platforms. So this is a course description which is on feminism and the global social transformation. It is a 3-day online immersive certificate training program, which is being held from 16th to 18th February next month, and it is being organized over Zoom. And we have experts joining us from all over the world, from Middle East, from the US, from Europe, from India, and their expertise ranges from practice to academics to also activism. So we would be very happy to have you. Please register for the course. We circulated the event details on the chat box, but definitely we'll reach out to you again through the emails. Please watch out for it and also circulate it amongst your networks, whomever you feel. And it is open to all. It is not just for students, researchers, but it is also for homemakers and activists, working professionals. So this is going to be great, and we really look forward to having you. Thank you, and wish you all a good day. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you once again. Bye.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you,
Wonderful
ma'am.
to
Thank
meet
you, Pooja,
everybody.
ma'am. It was really nice opportunity to listen you and to my friend, Dr. Vibhuti Patel.
You are the
and even
most
Dr.
inspiring,
Vaidya.
ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
No, many
Thank you, ma'am.
hurdles you have faced, and you have emerged
And
as
you are really working very groundwork for the gender equality, madam. That
Correct.
is really, I'm really impressed. And I'm always impressed. I would
all
like
of us are sailing in the same boat. Our commitment, our
Thank you.
concern.
Yes,
it's on this issue.
We're fortunate to be in such company.
Yeah, very
Thank
important.
you, ma'am.
Very, very
Thank you.
important. Yeah.
Chalo.
Thank
Okay,
you
ma'am.
all.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you. Thank you, dear.
Really, it was such a learning experience. I got tonic for my remaining life. I'm 67 years old.
Bye, madam. You are
Same
you are
here, like
16.
Yeah, I got a
Yeah.
spirit of 16 after
Yes,
this talk
yes.
and this session. Yeah, very
Right.
This
And
course
now we
sounds
have
fascinating.
Simi
actually.
to continue our legacy, her generation to continue our legacy.
Absolutely, ma'am.
Right.
Under your guidance, under your all guidance.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dr. Mehta, Sumi, can you email me this.
Okay.
Absolutely,
just
ma'am. Yeah, yeah. It's
bunch of
yeah, it's
people.
ready.
The senior cadre of CRI, she said they can be deputed to for the
Absolutely.
course. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Okay, bye. Thank you. Thank you.
Dr. Francis, you can also from your Inner Wheel Club, you can depute. people.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
The team is very dedicated. Yeah.
Thank you.
You can share. I will share it in my group, madam.
Absolutely.
Very good.
Yeah, yeah.
So Dr.
Doing-
Meena Kute also, yeah. You can.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Yes,
You must be member
Yes,
of Principals Associations also.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. In both the group, in granted and aided and unaided
Private
colleges.
sector also.
group.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, yeah. Principals have a separate group of theirs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Private also. Now, now as associated to, yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
We'll do so, ma'am. Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you, madam.